last year, the longest in the field.
That birdie would put Paula at 1 under par. How about to 4 under par goes M.J. Herr at the 7th. At the time, she had the solo lead, but Christy Kerr was on the move. She holed out for eagle at 1. Here she is at the 7th.
Yeah, 8-iron into the hole at the first hole. That it was the hardest hole on the golf course last year, and a beautiful third shot there at 7.
She would make the birdie putt to tie for the lead at 4 under par, but she would bogey 8 and 9, so M.J. Herr now has the solo lead at 4 under par. 19-year-old Megan Kang feeling a little bit better about things this time around after missing the cut a year ago. Jessica Korda is a 4-time LPGA Tour winner. Mo Martin is one of 25 major champions in this week's field, which is stacked. All 20 of the top 20 in the Rolex World Rankings are here this week. Ariya Jutanugarn is one of them. She is at 1 under par, currently playing the 9th hole. Glad to have you with us on what should be a tremendous Thursday. Golf Channel and the LPGA Tour proudly present the season-long race to the CME Globe. From Las Colinas Country Club, it's first-round coverage of the Volunteers of America Texas Shootout, presented by JTBC. And we welcome you to the Lone Star State, where Hook 'em Horns is a familiar cry. 10 miles northwest of downtown Dallas, Las Colinas Country Club. Spanish for the hills. Las Colinas is an appropriate name considering the rolling undulations that permeate throughout this Joe Finger design. Lined with oak, pecan, and mesquite trees, the challenging layout is hosting this event for the 5th time. We've already heard from Judy Rankin. Also joining us today, Tom Abbott calling holes. Jerry Foltz and Kay Cockrell will be down on the ground. And we are out to the tee at the 10th. That is Christy Kerr, and Kay Cockrell is following this group. It's been a bit of a struggle for Christy the last couple of holes with bogeys at 8 and 9 after that birdie at 7K.
Yeah, certainly. The bogey at 8 was kind of a sloppy 3-putt, a very unusual 3-putt from just off the fringe, but got into trouble off the tee on the 9th, and that essentially led to the bogey. So see if she can straighten it out here. This is generally played one of the easiest holes on the golf course the last few years.
It's a nice kick off the hill there, Judy.
Yeah, big elevated tee, and you play down to the fairway at 10.
Up at the 11th, Marina Alex has a birdie putt. And we welcome in Tom Abbott.
Thank you, Steve. Nice par 3, plays slightly up the hill. The green's looking pretty good out there, Judy. Golf course is a little softer than it has been in years past. And we'll go over to the 9th, Charlie Hull for a birdie from off the green, and Jerry Foltz is out there.
And as you should do in this part of the country, using the Texas wedge from 10 feet off the green and doing it nicely. Tom, the course is a little wetter than years past, but it is in awfully good condition.
Did they call it a Texas wedge or just a wedge here?
Good point.
Oh, I have a moment. Let's join Steve and Judy.
Wow, well, you're a Texan. You want to answer that one quickly?
Well, I think everybody calls it a Texas wedge.
Fair enough. Let's talk about Christy Kerr. She won her last start on the LPGA Tour, Judy. She got off to that fantastic start, holding out her second shot at 1, that birdie at 7 we saw, but it's been a bit of a struggle for her the last couple of holes.
Yeah, but even though she's not the tournament leader right now, it is such an interesting story that she won the last competitive start that anyone saw, which was in Hawaii. She finished that tournament in Hawaii with 2 great rounds, 62-66. Now she comes here today, and the very first hole she plays, played as the hardest hole on the golf course last year. She put an 8-iron in the hole, so you have to be on a pretty good high at that point.
Speaking of high, we usually have high winds here in Texas. We certainly saw them the last couple of days during the Pro-Am and a practice round on Tuesday. Today, the best day of the week so far, but it can get tricky out there, can't it?
Yes, at the moment, I think it's the calmest wind since anyone arrived in the Dallas area. But it is supposed to pick up this afternoon. It's supposed to blow again tomorrow. The spring, April, and May in Texas is pretty much a windy time. You can't avoid that. I think you could include Oklahoma in that pairing. But the wind plays a big part on this golf course. And even though there's been plenty of rain, the greens are firmer and faster than they have been, and they will continue to be because the wind keeps blowing.
We talked to some of the players the last couple of days, and they've all said the course is in fabulous shape, as Tom and Jerry alluded to. Maybe a little bit softer because of the recent rain, but as we look at our tournament overview, it is a true shootout. The regular 36-hole cut, low 70 in ties, but then there's a cut after the third round to low 50 in ties, which sets up a Sunday run to the finish line, which should be fantastic. 4 amateurs, Judy, qualify through the high school and college shootout. I know this is near and dear to your heart to get the juniors involved in the game at the highest level.
Yeah, well, it was because of this amateur qualifier that was high school and college directed that I had the idea to bring junior girls from out where I live just play in the Pro-Am. Players not quite at that level yet. And this tournament does a lot to really encourage juniors and young women to play the game and stay in the game.
Judy pulling double duty this week, Tom, not only with us on TV, but also hosting a lot of juniors here in Irving, Texas.
Yeah, it's a great course, and they're having a wonderful week. Lydia Ko putting for birdie. Lydia was down in South Florida last week working with Ian Baker Finch. Spent a day down there with him, and of course Ian Baker Finch has also helped out the world number 2, So Yun Yu. Let's go to the 10th.
Where MJ Herr has this birdie putt to extend her lead. Point to the right.
MJ Hurd had a very solid 2017 season. She hasn't done anything spectacular, but she has just played well and played a lot of good rounds.
Let's seesaw you back to the 9th again.
Stacey Lewis for birdie.
This one going up the hill, turning a little right, Tom. Putting much better this year than last year, but not on this occasion.
One of 11 players in the field this week with a Texas connection. Stacey has moved back to Texas, having grown up in the Houston area. She's back there now. Just what, 3-hour drive or so from here, Judy? Is that right?
That's just about right, Tom.
55-minute flight, because I did it the other day.
And how the greens react.
Back here at 10, left side of the fairway with Arya Jatanagar.
Steve still not playing the driver off the tee. Used a 3-wood, and again 3-wood there for her second.
Shot.
I guess that'll do.
Yeah, you think? Eagle try coming up at 10 for Arya. Back to 9 we go.
This is In Jung Song, who's had such a good year so far. Remember, she made that hole-in-one in the first round of the ANA Inspiration. First amateur to make a hole-in-one at that event. They have a special qualifier here for amateur players. She was one of the 4 qualifiers in that event last month. 17 years of age, first player to win the U.S. Girls Junior and the U.S. Women's Amateur in the same year. Did that last year. That's why she's been able to come over and play some big events in the U.S. Her best finish on the LPGA Tour came a couple of weeks ago, the last event, the Lotte Championship. She finished tied for 16th, had a really good final round, shot 64. This is the 10th.
Tee shot from Lydia Ko on the way. 3-shot hole for all 3 of these players today. Into the breeze from the right. That's good shape there.
They can use that hill all day long, Judy, as long as it bounces in the fairway.
Yeah, you get a big slope from the right side of that fairway.
Up to 11 we go.
And Paula Creamer. Paula, a good start to the Lotte Championship a couple of weeks ago, 66 in the first round, but then followed that up with 2 rounds of 74, 71 in the final round. Finished tied for 60th. That was going to come up short in the bunker.
You really fought the weather in Hawaii, Tom.
Yeah, it was actually quite unusual. It's usually a dry part of the island there on Oahu, but we had rain each day. And the first 3 days, that rain caused a delay in play. So it was rather a stop-start week. But as you saw, the final round was really exciting, and this lady had a great day.
Yeah. Yes, she did, Kay.
Perfect. She certainly did, and one of her patented displays on the putting surfaces, walking in putts from every angle, she certainly felt it. Ball is sitting down a little bit. It's kind of a funky little lie, so a little bit of question how it's going to come out. Yeah, that was the smart play, trying to kind of punch it up there and hope for a little hit and trundle, but it was just a weird lie.
All right, Kay, big week as far as the rules are concerned. The RNA and also the USGA making an announcement on Tuesday, changing things rather dramatically, Judy, as it pertains to how things will be perceived on and off the golf course and in and out of the competitions as well. You see, number one, when video evidence, Judy, reveals that things that could not reasonably be seen with the naked eye, a committee can conclude there was no breach. What do you think?
I think that really applies to what happened to Anna Nordquist last year in the playoff
exactly.
at the Women's U.S. Open. I think her club moved 2 grains of sand, maybe 3. There was no way she could have felt it, no way we would have seen it without extreme close-up. And I think she would have, still been in the playoff.
So that was the announcement. Here's some of the reaction we got from the LPGA Tour players on Tuesday.
I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest. I think the decisions kind of just put more cloud up in the air, it's really going to come up to the discretion of rules officials, and it's going to require players to make sure they're honest and, could potentially maybe lead to cheating or who knows what. I just feel like it opens up a whole nother can of worms. I would have liked to have seen something about, once the second round is over, or once the third round starts, you can't go back and change the second round scores. Maybe have a time frame, like Sunday when a tournament ends, you can't make a change. The tournament is closed, the tournament is finished, so let's have a definite end to every single round. And because especially in the Lexi situation, knowing that prior to the round, I think everybody plays the final round differently.
I think when you deal with like naked eye and video, that's going to be such a fine line. It's going to be so hard to decide what is what, and you're going to have a lot of disagreements with that. But just rule number 1, do away with call-ins. Nobody can call in. Players or the rules officials can do it, and then you have to do away with the scorecard infraction, seeing as she didn't know she had a penalty at the time of signing the card.
I personally never want to see what happened to Lexi happen again, because especially, like once a card is signed, like the 2 shots she got for signing incorrect score, it's not acceptable. It's not right. So definitely something needs to be changed about the viewer calling in, and not a signing penalty like without the person. Obviously she didn't know she was signing an incorrect scorecard.
All right, Judy, as we're back on the 10th green with Christy Kerr's birdie putt, what is your opinion on viewers calling, or in the Lexi case at the end of Inspiration, emailing in?
Well, and this was alluded to by some of the players, one of the big things is, what a good putt from Christy Kerr. One of the big things is every round isn't treated the same. Things can happen in the first 3 rounds that actually, can have an adjustment that can be very painful and very costly. But the 4th round doesn't seem to work that way, because on Monday the tournament is closed. That's one issue. Another issue is, think about how this might affect the cut. If the call-in comes on Saturday and it has something to do with Friday, that affects all kinds of people. But what I hear players say is they don't like the fact that Lexi was penalized 4 shots. No one has said she should not have been penalized. I haven't heard anyone say that, but the 4 shots they think was extreme and maybe did not fit the crime.
Let's go to 9.
And the amateur song for a birdie and a share of the lead. It's been very impressive to watch this young lady. Obviously we know that she has tremendous talent from her performance last year in 2 of the biggest amateur events in the world. Go to the 10th.
where Area has an eagle try here.
A woman who's familiar with making eagles. And should move right to left. And she overread it a bit.
Her putting teacher has been on the scene this week. Gareth Raflowski. It's a difficult name for me to say. Awfully nice young man.
A couple of birdies in her last 3 holes. Area working her way up the leaderboard now, just 2 shots back of MG Her. Let's go to 11.
Here's MJ for birdie. Recently engaged MJ Her, so life away from the course is good. She's happy, and I think it's showing in her game as well. It's been a decent start to the year for MJ. Yeah, that's a good result there. New caddy on the bag this year in Daniel Taylor, who's been out here for a long time as a regular caddy. There he is. They've worked well together. Young man from England who was a good player in his own right as a young man.
Here's Suzanne Pedersen and her birdie try.
Yeah, after a good little flop shot, Steve, that's her first birdie on the card today.
A little early fist pump from Suzanne as well. So nice 4 on the card at the 10th. Back at 9.
Song for par. Yeah, good outward half. That back-to-back bogey stretch at 7 and 8. So birdie at the 5th.
And now back at 10, there's Stacy Lewis. We heard from her. And Jerry, you're down there following this group. Stacy very honest with her assessment as to what she thought of those new rules on Tuesday, Jerry.
Yeah, she always is, sometimes to a fault. She's taken a little bit of public flack in the past for giving an honest opinion, and as we like doing our jobs, we love when players do that.
You know what, Jerry? If they're going to be asked questions, then give an honest answer. I like it. It's refreshing. There's a reason they're asked things, Jerry. They're the best players in the world. People want to know their opinions.
Exactly, and I think the younger breed on the PGA Tour and out here as well are starting to take that responsibility a little more strongly and be honest. That shot for Stacy, 65 yards, needs to release.
I can share, I guess, kind of a light moment, which years ago when Meg Mallon won her first U.S. Open, someone asked her in a press room not long after what was different. She said, all of a sudden, people ask me what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what happens. 2-11 quickly.
Jutanagan's tee shot on the way.
And it's a beautiful shot. It was right on the flagstick the whole way.
We'll go back over to the 10th.
Where Lydia Ko is about to hit her 3rd.
58 yards. This is where she has made her hay over the last few years. Almost always gets the distance correct on these shots, even though they're in between wedges. And right on cue, she flies it about 10 feet too far.
Well, you never know. She might be able to make up for that substandard wedge, perhaps, with a nice birdie putt. That's what's coming up when we come back here to Irving, Texas. It is a gorgeous day, and so far, MJ Her has it all her way. 2-shot lead early in round 1. Today's coverage is brought to you by Volunteers of America, helping America's most vulnerable. CME Group, how the world advances. And by Win Grips, the best grips in golf.
Having talent.
Las Colinas Country Club, Stacy Lewis putting for birdie.
Disappointed in the wedge shot. Left this uphill 25-footer and only hit it about 21 feet.
That ran out of steam quickly. Up to 11.
This was just a moment ago. Christy Kerr.
First of 3 par 3s on his back 9, and that's a 6-iron.
Go, 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 go.
And that'll be just fine, keeping it below the hole.
It did go just enough to give her a good chance for birdie. Let's go back to the 10th.
And Jerry, let's see if that putter will erase that wedge for Lydia.
The putter's the one part of the game that is below her standards from previous years. That she's not posted good putting stats yet this year, and of course she led the LPGA in both putting categories last year. And there you go.
So you say she's a great wedge player, doesn't hit a great one, not the greatest putter, and then drains one, Jerry.
Yep.
What a game.
That was the reverse curse. That was great, Jerry.
Gotta love this game. So Lydia on the board, just like Suzanne with her first birdie of the day, and it comes at the 10th. You should smile, Lydia. That was a great putt. And speaking of Suzanne, she's up at 11.
Pedersen came pretty close to winning the ANA Inspiration in the end, the event that has gotten away from her in the past. Another near miss. Now looking forward to the rest of the season. Of course, busy year with Solheim Cup coming up in August, Kay, and she will very much be part of that.
Most certainly. Can't imagine a Solheim Cup without Suzanne Pedersen. This is a lengthy putt, obviously, from the very front part of the screen. The hole is 16 paces on, so basically a 48-footer. Hit a beautiful putt from the back of the green at number 9, trickled it down the hill, and made for a good 2 putts, so feeling her speed quite well right now. Slightly uphill. Certainly would like to have gotten it closer than that.
I mentioned the Solheim Cup. Let's take a look at how the European team is shaping up. And you can see they have 3 different ways to get onto that team. A points list from the Ladies European Tour, qualified through the world rankings. And there are 4 captains' picks as well. Florentina Parker, a recent winner on the LET, is second on that list on the left side. Players need to play 6 events in the qualification period on the LET in order to go in through the world rankings or that points list. And that's quite important because it frees up the captain's picks, and a lot of the European players have had to rejig their schedules in order to play those 6 events, because this year the Solheim Cup is played before the Evian Championship, so that doesn't count, and they took off the Australian event as well. So that's why a lot of players went over last week to play in Europe. Harriet Jutanagan missing out there for birdie.
It got a good teach off of Pedersen's putt, I think, on the speed. Gave that plenty.
I think this green can be a fooler because there's a slope in this green from left to right, certainly as you play to the green, but once you get on the green, it doesn't seem to make that much difference.
Up at 12, trying to save her par, Marina Alex. 2 back, yes, okay. And the birdie putt by just a little bit too far. Made her think about that par save, and she got it done. So we go back a hole to 11.
Christy Kerr for birdie.
And Tom, speaking about the Solheim Cup, Christy was part of that nice Solheim Cup gathering last weekend that Julie Inkster put together to develop more team camaraderie and also get some of the younger, potentially new players adjusted to the thought of being on a Solheim Cup team.
That was at Blue Jack National, I believe. Just 3 for Kerr.
It was, Tom, at Blue Jack National. We have some pictures to show you as well. Julie Inkster, the captain, invited 14 women. Little 2-day fun-filled team building, scavenger hunt, fishing games, and of course a little bit of golf. Good camaraderie for the ladies, isn't it, Judy?
I could play on the team still if we're going to go fishing. It's the golf part that's tough. I'm told that Blue Jack National is one terrific golf course, and it is a Tiger Woods design.
And there is the list for the women who will be representing America if it stood right now. By the way, one name you do not see on that list is Michelle Wie. She is currently 14th in the standings. Des Moines, Iowa will be rocking and rolling in August. It should be a blast. The Solheim Cup, one of the great events in all of golf. 12 and the leader, MJ Hurt.
Tough little shot from the tee at 12. 12 measures 396 yards on the card.
I was making my way around the course this morning, Judy, and there are so many trees on this golf course. If you miss the fairway by just a touch, like MJ is right there, you could find yourself with a little bit of tree trouble in a spot where you wouldn't normally see that.
Right, so you look back at that hole, which we just saw. It's very difficult off the tee. Dogleg to the right, slope from left to right, and now she plays down to a green with the same kind of slope.
She handled that one well.
I told you that was a tough shot.
Wow. What a fantastic shot from MJ Hurt. Yeah, we talked about the Solheim Cup a little bit earlier. The most exciting event in women's golf returns to the United States at Des Moines Golf and Country Club. The 15th edition of the Solheim Cup coming your way right here exclusively on Golf Channel and NBC this August. Should be a lot of fun.
The organizers from Des Moines, the people from Des Moines Country Club, have never seen so much enthusiasm.
They've had a PGA Tour Champions event there for years, and they always had huge success getting throngs of people to go there. What a perfect market for the Solheim Cup. It is going to be loud, really loud in August. Lydia Ko now.
That's a 5-iron into a light breeze, drifting to the right edge. Caught a little high on the club face. Not a good shot.
Suzanne Pedersen and Ariel Jutanagan both made their pars at this 11th.
In Jung Sung, her third at the par 5 at the 10th.
Yeah, she missed by about a foot. She carries that same shot onto the green and not just short of the green, and it's probably perfect.
Let's go back to 11.
Charlie Hull.
That brings us into the players on the slight uphill par 3. Tom is a little from the left as well. But she gets about her business quickly, doesn't she? This left side of the green, and leave it downhiller.
Jerry, you are treated today to two very different tempos with Lydia and Charlie Hull.
Yes, and then Stacy falling right in between.
Yeah, I was going to say Stacy falls right in the middle.
You see Irving in the background there. Business district.
Travis giving her a little last-minute encouragement there. The only caddy she's really had as a professional, except the occasional time when her dad would be on the bag. Stacy really, I think, Judy, swinging the club nicely this year.
I agree with you, Jerry. I think she really looks good on the golf course. If you get a couple more things to drop, she'll break this long-running.
Yeah, it almost always goes right out of a plug line. That's the only part she didn't get right. The weight was pretty good.
She tends to have all the shots around the greens. This year the putter hasn't worked as well as it did last year.
At the 12th, hasn't been Paula Creamer's day just yet. Maybe this will turn it around.
Actually, slightly back uphill from that direction. Everything from at 12 slopes from the left to the right.
Not a pretty scorecard, Judy.
I tell you, she talks about being patient and waiting for everything to come around. Some of the golf she's played requires a lot of patience.
Charlie Hull for birdie at 11.
Little speedy one here downhill. Flattens out a bit at the hole. Turning right the whole way.
Charlie just spent a couple of weeks back in England. Still lives at home in Kettering, England, north of London. It's a commute back and forth across the Atlantic.
Can MJ make another one? Just dove to the left. She was trying to get to 6 under par through 12 holes. The short remain at 5. Pretty hard to argue with that clean scorecard. What's happening back at 11, Tom?
Well, Stacey Lewis has this one for birdie.
And it's an uphiller. Also turning right. See if she can dial in the speed here after 2 very substandard putts for Stacey on 9 and 10.
I've always called her grip kind of an even-handed grip. It's not completely conventional, and it's certainly not left-hand low.
Consistent day there. 11 straight pars.
Now Sung for her birdie. That was left all the way, Judy.
Left herself a tricky little one.
This would be a good par at the 11th for Lydia Ko.
Yeah, heck of a par. You mentioned it too. She just seems to make, well, we talk about it quite often following Lydia, but seemingly impossible shots look almost routine at times. Now that Friday wasn't an impossible shot by any means, but she steps up to it. It doesn't faze her. She doesn't look like she thinks anything is a hard shot.
Turned 20 at the beginning of the week. Celebrated with her friends on the tour. And that just dying at the end. It's going to be a bogey.
You know, one of the things that Lydia has said over time that I was very impressed with, and juniors should hear it, she said, I take care of what's at hand. I give it my best every shot I play, and I have no reason to look back.
Here's a woman who never looks back, always looking forward, Christy Kerr.
Steve, she's actually ended up with a decent angle, but it's a tricky shot because the ball's below her feet. She's coming out of the rough, and also a little bit of a downhill lie. She's missed a couple tee shots to the right, and in fact, when she left the 10th green going to the 11th, and after hitting her tee shot 11, she put a glove underneath her armpits, kind of what she does when she practices and warms up on the range, to feel connection. So she's certainly not happy with her swing right now.
Okay, give us a good feel about the wind direction.
It's mostly coming out of the south, opposite from where it was yesterday. Sort of south-southwest.
But so here at 12, it's back into the players from the left?
Kind of mostly just south, so hurting dead on.
There you see all the flags behind the range. Flags whipping. It's supposed to be really warm tomorrow. And then the weather is supposed to get kind of nasty late Friday and Saturday.
Leading by 2, MJ Hers on the tee at the 13th, the par 3 across the water, steep slope from the water up to the green. And the flags, they cut over on the front right. When you stand on that tee, Judy, it's sort of the whole of Texas away to the left on that green, but somehow players are pulled in towards the flag.
Yeah, the most difficult hole location is back left at this green, but the bunkers really come into play today.
Safe shot from MJ Her, back one to the 12th.
And Arias' second shot.
That's just a little controlled 9-iron. Hold it. I know this green slopes from left to right.
Arias not going to be happy with that. With a short iron in her hand, missing the green. MJ Her in control right now. She has a birdie putt when we come back here to Las Colinas Country Club. Try to extend that lead to 3 shots.
In today's business environment, the only true constant is change. which is why you need an expert banker to advise you through the hazards of business today, giving you the confidence to succeed.
At Banco Polk, we understand your passion for success and excellence in a way that only a true neighbor could.
That's why we are a proud sponsor of the 2017 Founders Cup and the LPGA Tour. Bank of Hope.
When it comes to Kings Mill, we're not just another resort. We're the only 4-diamond condominium resort in Williamsburg, providing an unparalleled range of newly renovated accommodations and dining experiences, a stunning setting along the James River, and a boundless range of recreational pursuits. Kings Mill Resort. It's fun, relaxing, and exhilarating. Kings Mill Resort, a memorable riverside escape.
A été transporté à l'hôpital. Aí, Pedro, preciso de você na caixa, Davi, ajuda ele.
Every day, you can wake up feeling secure about the safety of your mattress.
Judy even got away from her.
Yeah, and it went a direction I didn't see.
We see those greens rolling out. Speaking of the greens and the speeds, they're about 11.5 on the stimp this week. Time for the course setup presented by the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America, and Jim Osborne has done a fabulous job. This golf course is in the best shape it's ever been in the 5 years this tournament's been played here.
Yeah, it's really, really in good shape. Par 36, 35, 3 par 3s on the back 9, and the wind. I mean, it's a tricky course anyway because there's a lot of slope. You have to work a lot of tee shots, but the wind really makes it tricky.
Kudos to Jim and his staff here at Las Colinas Country Club. Airy is third from off the green. Nicely played. That was a moment ago. How about Suzanne Pedersen? She has a birdie putt now here to 12.
She does. This little leak left to right.
A little different stance for Suzanne Pedersen.
Yeah, and it's working well. Some of the changes she's made, Judy, with Jorge Parada, one of those things, getting in more comfortable address position with putting and moving a little away from the ball and widening the stance.
Yeah, we'll get back to that as the day goes on, but she is much wider, and it looks like she's really braced herself on her left side.
Slow start, but nice beginning to her back 9 to 11 again.
Big miss by Song here at the 11th, and that leads to a long putt for par. Paula Creamer needs a few birdies. This is for birdie at 13. What do you think it is about her game that is just lacking at the moment, Judy?
You know, she continually tries to make swing changes, and she's happy working with Jerry Gilchrist, but she just doesn't seem to have the scoring ability that she needs. Her golf swing looks pretty good to me.
Par save upcoming for Kristen.
Boy, we did not see any of that the last few weeks, and particularly at Lotte. Just shows you, Judy, how even a great putter, you still go through some spells where you're going to miss a few.
Yeah, we saw a 3-putt that she probably shouldn't have had at the 8th hole earlier, and now this one from right off the fringe.
MJ Her is to get it to 6 under par. The record here is 64. It's par 71. 7 under has been recorded by 5 different players. Trying to stay online, you can see. Just going to be a 3 for MJ. A couple of wins, first of which came back in 2009. Portland in a playoff, if memory serves me correctly. Was it Michelle Redmond and Suzanne Pedersen?
It was.
All right, Jerry, what's Lydia looking at here with her second at 12?
Oh, great drive, dead center of the fairway, but pretty good distance in, 148 yards. Should be a 6-iron for Lydia, no signal yet. Side hill lie, but the breeze is dying down a little bit. She's looking much more comfortable with the minor swing changes she's made under the new coaching of Gary Gilchrist, and a great example of it right there.
Yeah, very nice shot. Good looking birdie at 12. New caddy on the bag for Lydia. There's Peter Godfrey, very familiar face to those who follow the LPGA Tour in and around the game. Let's hear from Lydia on the new man in her bag.
Yeah, you know, because I'm close with Jane, who's Pete's wife now. I'm newly married. You know, I've kind of got to know him, you know, through the last few years, and you know, he's just a very fun person to be around. And you know, obviously, I'm now known to have a lot of caddies, but you know, I feel like every person has been different, and you know, from each person, I've learned more about my game and you know what I kind of need going forward. So hopefully, this one will last. I think so, and you know, I'm just gonna try and have a good time. And obviously, this is the first week, so you know, we're trying to get to know. I'm trying to get to know him better, and he's trying to get to know my game and me better. So hopefully it's going to be good teamwork.
The Jane she was talking about, Jane Park, who plays on the LPGA Tour, Judy, is the wife of the new caddy, Pete Godfrey, as you see right there on the screen. What is it about Lydia and switching all these caddies, and is it a big deal?
Well, I think in the beginning, you know, she was quite young, and I think her mom and maybe her dad, too, had a lot to say about who was going to be on the bag and how they were dealing with her. She's getting older now. She certainly displays a lot of maturity. And maybe now, you know, this is 100% her decision to figure out who this person would be and how they should interact with her. So this might be good. They were friends before they had a working relationship.
Let's go to 11.
It's a bit good par here for the amateur Song. Hasn't dropped a shot yet, and is not going to drop a shot here. Good up and down. 4 amateur players in the field, as we mentioned, who came through the qualifier in the middle of March. Great opportunity for players to get into the field here through that qualifier. 4 spots up for grabs. Pedersen on the tee at 13.
Just a short little hole, but demanding in its preciseness that you need. And there's a great example because it's only playing, Tom, probably about 115 yards.
Up at 16, this is Amelia Lewis. She has a birdie try. Dives a little bit to the left for Amelia. Good scoring so far, like you said, Judy. Without that wind, Tom, players can take control of this golf course a little bit, especially here at short par 3.
And second easiest hole on the course, area Jutanagan.
Should be just a 50-degree gap wedge.
Oh, just wanted a little bit of spin there, but still going to be a good chance for a birdie. The wind, well, it is blowing out there, but it really is supposed to pick up later this afternoon. We're not expecting any delays because of the wind, but will be quite tricky for the late starters if the forecast holds true. To 14.
Hornanon Patlum has a birdie try. Swinging big left to right, and in the jar it goes.
Yeah, beautiful. So the golf course on the back 9 starts out with everything going left to right. You then play that 13th, a short par 3, and now 14 is exactly the opposite slope.
Back-to-back birdies for Hornanon, and Stacy would just love to get one here at 12.
See what a little 9-iron, a little too far past the hole. That downhill putt that slides to the right, which just baffles you on this green, Judy, because this entire hole slopes left to right, which should mean that putt would fall left. It never does.
That was, well, much like what we saw happen to Christy Kerr.
Here is Kerr on 13.
See who can get the greenie here.
Sit.
Loves to shout at the golf balls, Christy Kerr. Sometimes it listens, sometimes it doesn't. This is Ann Chen, the 15-year-old freshman at Clements High School. She shot 73. Got in after a playoff in the qualifier. And that is a really good shot. A couple of good ones there. Let's take a look at Anne's bio. She was originally from Australia, but now lives in Sugar Land, Texas. The family moved over here. Qualified for the 2015 US Women's Amateur at the age of 14. Youngest player that year to make the field, and this is her first appearance in an LPGA event.
Where do they get the poise from, Tom, at 15 years of age to handle themselves on the world's grandest stage?
Maybe watching the players that are on the LPGA Tour and the youth that is out here. You look at a lot of the players coming out on the LPGA are so poised themselves, I suppose. They're following in the footsteps of the people they look up to.
And one of them, no doubt, is this woman, Lydia Ko. What an accomplished player Lydia is, and she has a birdie try here at the ball.
She does, and probably got a pretty good teach from Stacy's putt. Knows this is going right. Her caddy, new caddy, as you guys mentioned, Peter Godfrey, pointed to a spot almost a cup out on the left and a few feet short of the hole. That might be too much.
Have you known a player, though, any better than Lydia Ko at having tap-ins for the second putt?
When she has a second putt, Judy.
You're right, Derek.
Lydia, not much cooking so far for her. She's 5 shots back of MJ Her. She's had a couple of chances recently to get it to 6 or even 7.
A schedule as smooth as pure silk?
It's been a beautiful day, Judy, for MJ Her. She is at 5 under par, just cruising along. How about the amateur, In Jung Sung? She's only 2 shots back. Jennifer Song playing well as is this woman who's made a couple of birdies recently.
Yeah, Suzanne Pedersen looking for another one here at 13.
And Christy Kerr missed her birdie putt as well, so a couple of pars for the first 2 to putt on the screen.
Yeah, we'll go back to the 11th, and one of the other amateurs, and Chen, for birdie to get it back to 1 over par. Oh, that's cruel. Just hit it a little bit too hard.
And there's the aforementioned MJ Her. Got to hit her second at 14.
Looks like she got a break. Hard to keep the ball from slipping down to the right side of this fairway in her effort to keep it left. Tucked it right in the rough by the trees, but had an open shot, and now she has a birdie try.
Boy, she has been accurate today. That ball rolled out a little bit, but it was on it.
It is firm.
Jutanagan just missing that one. Jutanagan currently second in the race to the CME Globe. So Yeon Yu, with her victory at the ANA Inspiration, has a solid lead at the moment. It's been a good year for So Yeon Yu. Inbee Park, a winner in Singapore. Lexi Thompson inside the top 5. The one name that is missing, Lydia Ko, player that has won the race to the CME Globe the last 2 years. Outside of the top 10, but I don't think that's going to last too long. I think Lydia will start to make a move up that list as the season goes on. This is Amelia Lewis at the 17th for birdie to get to 3 under. Hole, par 3, one of 3 par 3s on this back 9.
Now at 12, here is In Jun Sung. Well, you have to be impressed by what you've seen so far today, Judy. That wasn't her best there, but she's really played well.
Yeah, and we watched her at A&A not very long ago, and she is very impressive. And I don't know, the teenagers just don't stop coming in women's golf.
Charlie Hull on the tee at the 13th.
Yeah, between clubs here, between a wedge and a 9-iron. Going with the 9-iron. Breeze is helping, mostly from the left, but helping. She had to try and take some off it.
It's not too bad, Jerry.
The line was really good.
Yeah. Playing alongside Stacey Lewis and Lydia Ko. Lydia Ko, by the way, is 13th in the race to the CME Globe.
Yeah, I think it's got to be this one versus the wedge just isn't enough.
I think it's very difficult to hit a little shot downwind. For most people, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but for most people, most of the time, take a club that you can, go after a little bit. It's easier when the wind is at your back.
Also a little downhill as well. Stacey going with the 9-iron. It'll be a tiny one also.
Lovely.
We always joke that Stacey Lewis has multiple home events. She was born in Toledo, so when the tour goes to the Marathon Classic, that is, in essence, her home event. She lived there until she was 2, then moved to Texas. So this is also a home event. And, of course, she went to school at Arkansas, so when we play up in Rogers, she's adopted there as well. So she has a selection of home events.
Well, for a while lived in Florida.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
had an event there. So, yeah, 4 hometown events is pretty good. Rare. 9-iron for Lydia. Just a little left of the hole. Also plenty of club.
And no trouble there. Just can't miss it right. Players go down in the bunker there. Have all sorts of trouble. It's pretty relaxed. Let's go to the 14th.
Nobody's more relaxed on the golf course right now than MJ Herr. She's just playing beautiful golf, trying to get to 6 under par. She's missed a couple of birdie tries in her last 2 holes. Will this one fall? Good aggressive roll, and yeah, there you go. 6 under par is now the number. As MJ Herr is closing in on what Tom was talking about earlier, the course record of 64 here at Las Colinas Country Club. Par 71, remember. Sung. A birdie attempt from off the green.
What they call it, Texas is a mighty fine place to be.
You love the music, Judy, don't you? Your home state. If you could just see Judy right now kicking her heels.
Oh, yeah, right.
Dancing a little bit in the booth, having fun with the country music.
You would really be surprised if you could see her now.
Correct.
I know what it's like to feel like an outsider.
Very little break.
Tried to dead weight it in there. 15th hole can be a tricky hole. Got to come over the water with a second shot. Avoid it off the tee. This is Amy Yang, a winner already this year on the LPGA Tour, won during the Asian Swings. Good birdie from long range for Amy Yang. We've set her a couple under par. And you see, no mistakes. Back over to the 13th and Charlie Hull for birdie.
Also just a little downhill for Charlie. This one should turn left.
Oh, I thought it was going to sneak away, but he makes it.
Sure looked like it was going to keep turning, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It sort of fall away towards the bunker, but good too. And Charlie has got it to under par after that nasty double bogey at the 7th, which is the easiest hole on the golf course today.
Tom, the X1 voice remote lets you find what you want faster. Voice commands to change channels, search shows, get recommendations, and plenty more. Enjoy seasons of Faraday, including Phil Mickelson's 2-part special. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Do you even need a remote if you just have to tell the television what to do?
Like a voice command?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make us even lazier than we already are.
I need one of those voice command things to tell the TV what I would like, because the remote, a lot of things that I want, they can't figure out.
You know, Comcast is working on that for you, Judy.
Oh, good.
The message is out there now.
I do have grandchildren.
They could call it the Judy ranking.
Just get your grandchildren to come over, they fix it.
Now Stacey Lewis wants to fix this, make it 2.
All you do, Judy, is put the TV on Golf Channel and then throw away the remote.
That's my go-to when I can't get the other thing I'm looking for.
I thought you were going to say when you can't sleep.
Just make sure it's not on mute when you throw away the remote. Missed opportunity there for Stacey. She's going to hopefully make it 3. Back over to the 15th, and Marina Alex to get to 3 under par.
That's a good birdie at that par 4.
Marina with 5 birdies in this opening round as we take a look at the Rolex Women's World Rankings. Lydia Ko's hanging in there as the world #1. Finished tied for 2nd last time out a couple of weeks ago. The Lotte Championship. There was a chance that So Young Yu could have overtaken the top spot. You can see Stacey Lewis and Christy Kerr. Both players have been at the top of the world rankings in their careers, Lewis and Kerr at the moment, 15th and 18th.
How about the top 20 all represented here this week at this tournament, boosting the field? Fantastic to see the best players in the world all coming together.
Par 5, didn't I? Yeah. No, on the par 3. It's par 3, and I'll tell you now your number on that. I was like almost 70. 58.
Yeah, this is quite a discrepancy.
Is it? Stop it.
Suzanne laid up, okay?
Well, let's just say it was a slightly missed iron shot off the tee. They all hit either hybrid or long iron off the tee for positioning on this hole, and she didn't find the sweet spot.
Does she have to take it right over the sweet spot at the top of that tree now?
Yeah, with a 200-yard number in. Now, what she will focus in is on that front number.
Yeah, but the front 7 is separate. Well, that's what I'm saying. But what would it have taken for us to feel like hoping to get the 6 there? Yeah, we need the front there. That will become. Trust me 100% on this. Right? We're not in the clock, so we're not rushing. Okay? You're not hit the golf shot unless you're comfortable. Well, let's crash this thing. I'm not doubting that you can get the number there. Front is not there. No, absolutely not. You can hit this.
She's got a lot
to... Better decision. Commit.
A lot to deal with. Side slope, ball below her feet, slightly downhill, 183 to the front. Wind, how much is it helping? How much is it downhill? A lot to calculate and then commit. She knew it would hit and release. That was well judged. Really good shot, considering.
Very
Meanwhile,
good shot.
Area Jutanagarn is 100 yards ahead.
Yeah, that was a very good shot for a couple of reasons. It's a lot harder to elevate the ball quickly when the wind's at your back. Much easier when the wind's in your face. from a long distance, she gets that ball up quickly and over that tree.
Terrific illustration, by the way, and needing to hear from David Jones. It's an individual game, but at times it's a team sport, and it was there, and it was well executed by both members of that squad. As we get a Christy Kerr's second here, 14.
40 yards ahead from where Suzanne hit. This is 160 yards to the hole, but again, really not looking at that hole number. Probably wanting to land this at least 5 paces short, and then considering downhill, downwind, she's going with a 9-iron. Boy, that was tremendous as well.
What a great shot. So Kerr on point now, Jutanagarn.
The area just absolutely roped a hybrid over the corner, and it got a tremendous bounce, and it just shows you the variety of shots that you can hit, and a lot of it depends on luck and where it hits and how it releases. She only has 98 yards in. Can she take advantage of it?
The answer will be more than yes. Wow. Area. That close to jarring it at 14. What a fabulous drive and second shot. Area is going to... We are back at 14th. That's Suzanne Pedersen, who had a long ways in with her second shot, and it was a really good one from that position.
It sure was. Wouldn't it be something if she could make a 3 off of that tee shot? It's conceivable. She has just outside of 30 feet, slightly back uphill, right to left movement.
Well, you saw a good close-up of that putter. It is some version of the spider putter, and Stacy Lewis has gone through a similar model. If my eyes serve me right, Sergio Garcia won the Masters with a similar model.
Jason Day and Justin Rose carry the same putter.
Dustin Johnson and John Rahm as well.
So there.
That putter's building a healthy resume here in 2017, considering that long list of major champions and PGA Tour winners.
All in all, she's going to remember that 4.
Yeah, it's a good 2-putt. Good 4 for Suzanne at 14. Let's go back 1 to 13.
Song for a birdie to get to 4 under par.
Maybe just a little turn from the right.
Her goal is to play on the LPGA Tour one day. She's pretty close to doing that now. Wants to win the US Amateur this year once again.
Well, considering the tremendous shot we saw from area, Christy Kerr's wasn't quite as close, but from her position, it was a fantastic play, Kay.
It was, and it set her up for her first birdie on this back 9. She was the hot golfer on the front, 4 under through 7 holes, and then cooled off quite a bit. But the thing with Christy, like many great putters, even though she's missed a couple of short ones, it doesn't affect her overall confidence. And I love her commitment to each shot. You feel like she gives every putt, every shot total effort. Beautiful 3.
And she needed it. Stops the bleeding just a bit. After 3 bogeys in her last 6 holes, she's back on track.
Problems for MJ Herr at the 15th. Now this hole is interesting because off the tee, Judy, you have to lay it up short of the water. But getting the distance right is not always easy from what we've seen here in the past. And MJ Herr got it wrong today. Too much club and it ran into water.
Now she played from the drop zone. Hole pretty much in the center of the green today.
She was asking for that one to go, knew it was short. That'll catch quite a few players out this week. In practice, they try to figure out the best club to hit off the tee, but sometimes a firm bounce in the fairway there, it's a little bit down breeze, and they just don't get it right, and it goes in the water. The 14th.
Speaking of fairways, Tom, that's exactly where Liddy is.
Lydia from 178 yards, a little bit of a side hill lie.
Right edge of the scoreboard?
Yeah.
Because my flight's going to hit this tree, isn't it?
Huh?
Flight-wise, it could hit the tree.
No, you'll be fine.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think she's far enough back of that tree. It shouldn't be an issue at all. She's going with 6 iron, so she's going to hit a full one, even though you can't really tell because the swing is so gentle and smooth through impact. Straight down breeze, but you can't feel much of it. Pretty confident of a brand new caddy to overrule her and say, no, you'd be fine on that tree. And he was right.
Goes into that low area portion of the center of the green. You look at her swing one more time, Judy. What do you like about Lydia's action?
And go back and try to see what's a little bit different. This 6-iron, her hands are a little quieter as she gets the club away from the ball. She used to set her hands extremely early in the swing, and she's always had that loop just to the inside, but you can see right there it's really minimized. And I think that loop in her swing being minimized, maybe she has to get a little more comfortable, but it has to make her really accurate.
Now Stacey Lewis,
Just
love that job.
Just thinned the heck out of it. Almost bladed that 7-iron.
That's something. And you know, that feels so bad with your hands.
Yeah.
A golf shot that struck solidly feels so good, and the opposite is so bad.
Well aware of the latter. Amelia Lewis now at 18. See her short game practice. How about it?
That's terrific. That's going to give Amelia Lewis a round in the 60s, and just her 3rd round in the 60s this season. So
Boy, that
good
makes
start.
lunch taste just a little bit better. Back to the troubles of MJ at 15.
Well, this could be a really good moment here to save par, but her first. Oh, what a fall. No damage at the 15th despite going into the water. MJ Her, who lives about 35 minutes away from Las Colinas Country Club, was living in Orlando, but 3 years ago she moved to this part of the world, and she's enjoying it right now. Leads by 2, Volunteers of America, Texas Shootout.
Bushnell's new Pro X2 is the most advanced laser rangefinder in the world, now featuring slope switch technology. When it's off, it's a tournament-legal rangefinder. Switch it on, and our patented tour-proven slope technology provides an adjusted distance reading based on the ups and downs of the course, so you can choose the right club and swing with confidence. Slope off, slope on, off. Hey guys, still off here? Can we turn it on? Oh, thanks. Bushnell's new Pro X2 laser rangefinder. Slope when you want it. Tournament legal when you need it.
The race to the CME Globe, a year-long competition for a winner-take-all $1 million prize. It's the biggest payout in all of women's golf. And it culminates at the season-ending CME Group Tour Championship. Watch the 2017 race unfold on the Golf Channel.
My dad always told me I was only going to play good golf if I played happy.
From a rock star on tour.
It was sort of Nancy mania.
To songs of heartache.
Just couldn't get over the emotional feeling of not being able to win it. It was tough.
And the golfer that has her starstruck.
I'm Nancy Lopez, and I really love to meet you.
No, you're stalking.
Nancy Lopez on the Emmy-nominated Faraday, presented by Farmers Insurance. Monday, 9 p.m.
We are back at 14 after that, well, not great second shot. Thinned it over the green. Let's see what Stacy can do there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good recovery there, though. Used a lofted club, but from the downhill lie, it reacted like it was more of a straight-face club.
Well, team golf is back on the PGA Tour with an exciting new format. Players competing as two-man teams, including Ricky and Jason, Olympic medalists Justin and Henrik, and the Texas twosome of Jordan Spieth and Ryan Palmer. Our coverage right here on Golf Channel begins at 3 p.m. Eastern. The Zurich Classic of New Orleans. You like that format? You like that new team format?
I very much like it. I think players love to do something different one or two times in a season.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to watch later today when we are through here on the LPGA Tour. And that was a par save for Amy Yang at 16.
Maybe one of these days, not too far in the future, we're going to get back to mixed team partnership golf.
The one in Tampa, the J.C. Penney?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Think of the wonderful young players that could pair up. That would really be fun.
It would be. It would be great for the game.
Krista Kerr is safe off the tee at the 15th.
Coming in with a 9-iron. It's always nice when you can have the same club 2 holes in a row. Hit a hybrid off the tee. You really just want to hit something 230, 40 yards, and the wind kicked it forward and the firm ground as well.
Made a great start to the day, didn't she, holding that second shot. The first 2 further birdies.
Hold it with an 8-iron. That one is a tad heavy. Wasn't pure, but she got away with it.
Get back one to the 14th.
Where Lydia Ko has this long birdie putt.
And got a good teach from Chalonger uphill.
Look out, Judy. She's warming up.
Well, Jerry said that she had a little visit with Ian Baker Finch in Florida not too long ago, and one of his real strengths in teaching is putting, because he was a wonderful putter himself, and he seems to communicate things with the putter for other people extremely well, and he doesn't do anything that's complicated.
Good thing that one hit the back of the hole. It had some movement on it. 15.
Suzanne Pedersen second.
Tom, she's gotten back into the realm that she's comfortable hitting a lot of greens in regulation, currently ranked 5th on tour, and she had fallen off in that stat dramatically the last couple of years. And that had put a lot of pressure on her short game.
Whoa, watch out. Is that in the water, Kate?
Oh, yes, it is. That was a shocker. Basically, she had the same yardage and same clubs. Kerr. Huge mistake.
Well, they worked hard on the previous hole to get the club right. And this one should have been a lot more simple, but didn't work out that way. Erin Jutanagan second.
Her long iron tee shot got pretty darn close to that water.
Yeah, MJ Hurd drove into the water in the group in front.
Yeah, left her with just 130 yards, Tom.
And she's okay. The one-handed finish doesn't always mean it's going to work out well, but that one's all right. Back to the 14th.
And the par save for Stacey Lewis.
A little work remaining. Left side of the hole should be just fine.
Like a U.S. Women's Open scorecard, Judy. 14 straight pars.
Par is not the standard of excellence very often anymore in the game, is it?
Marina Alex on the tee at the 17th. Hole in one here. Wins a Kia Cadenza. Beautiful vehicle. Second generation Cadenza. It was designed inside and out at Kia's US design studio in California. I've been lucky enough to be driving one of those around Irving, Texas, in the Dallas metro area this week. Lovely vehicle. Lovely. Lots of extras. Keeps you entertained on the road. Jennifer Song, former US Women's Amateur Champion, is for a birdie at her final hole of the day.
Boy, away from the back of the green, really long putt. Jennifer Song came to the 9th hole 4 under par for the day.
She is going to sign for a 67. 4 under. Jennifer, 27 years of age. On a couple of times on the Symetra Tour, not on the LPGA yet. Back to Suzanne Pedersen in the drop zone, her 4th shot.
Basically the same distance that Aria had for her second shot.
Suzanne Pedersen staring a double bogey in the face, and that will take her back to level par unless she can hold that one. To the 12th.
Sandra Chankija has a birdie try here at 12. Oh, gets her within 2, so Sandra on the move. Born just outside of the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., currently lives outside of Orlando, Florida, does Sandra, and she is residing right now high atop the first page of the leaderboard. Low scores on this Thursday in Irving, Texas. While the wind is down, the players are taking advantage of it. Today's coverage is brought to you by Volunteers of America, helping America's most vulnerable. The new Titleist AP Irons. And by the Symetra Tour, road to the LPGA.
The 15th hole in the opening round of the Volunteers of America Texas Shootout. Suzanne Pedersen has this for bogey.
See if she can minimize the damage.
Yeah, well done, Suzanne Pedersen. We saw MJ Herr hold that long putt for a par, having been in the water. Pedersen holds a long one for a bogey at the 50. And we'll go ahead now to the 16th hole.
And the leader, MJ Herr. That lead is now only 1.
Just wait a second. Should switch back. It always plays as one of the more difficult holes on the golf course.
Yeah.
And today is no exception. The hardest hole on the golf course.
But she's perfectly placed to handle that.
Yeah, very good from the tee. You play straight up to a green that you do not see the putting surface. It's a little more difficult to stop the ball in that case. But that looked quite a lofted club.
Oh, that's right on the line.
Very nice. Really
underneath the hole.
That's it.
Let's go back to 15.
Aria Jutanagan for birdie.
Subtle little break here, Tom, for 2 birdies in a row.
Yeah, just caught her out, didn't it? Aria 3 under. After that first victory of 2017. Go to the 17th. Check in with Pornanong Patlam from Thailand. Marina Alex made a par here. We saw her tee shot. On the late with a couple of wins, but yet to win on the LPGA. 8th year on the LPGA Tour, Pornanong Patlam one of those players that was sort of a pioneer for Thai women's golf on the LPGA, and of course has opened the gates to the likes of Arya Jutanagarn. Christy Kerr for a birdie at the 15th.
This also for 2 in a row.
Oh, she thought she may have had it. Through 7 holes today, she was 25 under par for her last 50 holes. Pretty impressive. See at the 13th, Sandra Chankaja. Best finish this year, tied 50th. She is back in the 129th in the race to the CME Globe. And that was an aggressive tee shot from Sandra Chankaja. Could well set up a birdie there. And go to the 14th.
Sung has a birdie putt, a rather lengthy one. Oh, yeah. Handles it just fine. She moves to 4 under par. Just 2 shots back of the lead held by MJ Herr. Book like a pro with Golf Now VIP, an all-new annual membership featuring no convenience or cancellation fees and 25% more rewards points on every round you book. Become a VIP today at golfnow.com/VIP. One of our VIPs at the 15th, Tom Abbott.
Nice for you to say. Thanks, Steve. Yep. In the second.
Breeze kicking up now, almost straight downwind on this second shot. 163 yards to the hole. This is a 7-iron. Won't be a big one. Charlie Hall played first and hit a very nice one herself. All 3 players quite conservative off the tee, taking that water out of play.
It's almost as if the water comes into play on the second shot, Gary, because players are anticipating the run out of the ball and they don't want to get too aggressive because there is water over the back, but that brings in the water at the front.
Yes, that's exactly right. Great observation. Same on the tee shot here. They're right on top of this plateau. They hit the tee shots 10 yards further, and it can run an extra 30 into the lake.
Because the hole is named Hidden Trouble.
Stacey going with 7-iron, also 163 yards. Playing straight downwind to a green that doesn't have much slope in it. You know it's going to release. Has a loud sound to it as well. Right at the hole. Not a bad shot though at all. Well, it wasn't for a while.
She knew they didn't have a lot of spin on it.
Now on Tuesday night, individuals who make a difference were recognized as the Volunteers of America Conference Awards Dinner merged with the LPGA's Pro-Am Pairings Party at AT&T Stadium, home of those Dallas Cowboys. Everyone gathered on the field before the presentation. Sam Regal, shot. We are back. That's the 10th tee where Lexi Thompson will begin this first round. Walking onto the tee, it's a hug and a kiss from her agent Bobby Kreuzler. Be interesting to see how everybody reacts to Lexi. She's such a huge fan favorite. Hasn't played since the A&A Inspiration when she lost in that playoff. Now MJ Herr. This to tie the course record. That's a good effort, but she's going to fall 1 shot shy with a 65.
Yeah, but she will be very pleased with that putt from off the green. That could have been a little dangerous.
Absolutely. So can't take advantage of either par 5 on the back 9 for MJ Her, but just like a year ago, she sits atop the leaderboard. Will that stand throughout the afternoon? We'll have to wait and see. But just like last year, she is in the top spot. 17 again.
Stacey Lewis.
That was 9-iron, Tom. Pretty good looking shot.
I'd say. Oh, it just needed to hop forward. We've seen a few of the golf balls there run out. If that one had run out, it might have challenged the hole. Good chance to get back to level par. And we'll go over to the 9th and see if Jessica Corder can finish this one up. Of course, her sister Nellie Corder is out on the tour this year, and we'll be hearing from Nellie tomorrow in our broadcast. Part of our new Faces of the LPGA Tour segment.
I said, what did you eat? Oh, sorry.
Lexi, Austin Ernst, and Hana Zhang will be going out at 21 past the hour. So about 3 minutes from now. Think she's nervous out there, Judy? Would you be nervous after a long layoff and all that she's gone through? She was very emotional yesterday, going through the factor that led to her at this point and coming back here in Irving.
Yeah, I don't know nervous, but she'll certainly be hyped up here to get on the golf course, hole or two, and she'll settle down.
Lydia Ko, not a good tee shot here. It's her second.
No, and that was a very bare line. No chance to slide the club out and land it on the green.
What a shot.
Fringe and does what Lydia does so often.
That was so good, Jerry.
Running away from her once it gets on the green, landing it in the Bermuda fringe on a slope, and judging it nearly perfectly.
Go back to the 11th. Check in with Brittany Lincecum. This is just her second hole of the day. We're watching the sort of transition between the two waves. Made a par on the opening hole. And that is going to be a mistake. Run down into the longer grass. That's where we saw In Jung Song earlier today. Not able to get the ball up and down. 15th hole, Sandra Chunker just second. Nice.
It's never a simple hole at 15, but this downwind nature of it the last few hours really makes it so much more difficult.
Yeah, if it really starts blowing this afternoon, it's going to be very tricky for those players. They can't see that water off the tee, so it really is just a feel shot. To 16.
Song's going the wrong way. He needs to stop the bleeding, making a par, and makes another mistake. She'll give one back.
Yeah, you get a little going the wrong way, and you're not that experienced, and you could see such a difference in her stroke right there. That stroke was a little bit of a punch stroke, where earlier in the day it was a smooth, pretty stroke.
She looks a little deflated, does In Jung Song. They're about to start on the 10th tee.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2017 Volunteers of America Texas Shootout. First on the tee for the 1:21 tee time, the 2014 Portland Classic champion from South Carolina, Austin Ernst.
25 years of age, lives in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. That 2014 Portland Classic win, her only victory on the PGA Tour. Or the LPGA Tour, excuse me.
Her brother's on the bag. Her dad is a golf professional who's always been her teacher.
Next on the tee, 6-time LPGA Tour winner and major champion, 2-time U.S. Solheim Cup team member from Florida, Lexi Thompson.
Ranked 5th in the world. Hasn't played, like we said, since that Sunday loss at the A&A Inspiration in a playoff.
She's surely right lied about a few things. She was playing as good a golf as we've ever seen her play.
LPGA Tour winner from South Korea, Hana Jang.
All balls will be on this group, including Hana Jang, 24 years young, from Seoul, South Korea. Makes her American home in San Diego. Third year on the LPGA Tour, 4 victories to her credit. Ranked 8th in the world.
Very impressive player.
She's going to use that slope we've seen so many times today. So Lexi Thompson is back out on the golf course, perhaps a safe haven for her after all the things that she has gone through and what took place over the weekend in the California desert 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seemed as though she was destined to win that major championship. It didn't turn out that way, but it is now in the past, and I think getting a few rounds of golf under her belt will get that story to go away, and she can build a new story.
Stacey Lewis for birdie. That's happened time and time again over the last year or so. Just hasn't been able to convert like she did when she was playing her best golf. Must be frustrating for Lewis. It's frustrating to watch at times. Jay Her leads by 2.
Introduce Kay, second shot for area.
Green light special for her with her 2-iron. 222 to the hole.
Boy, the line looked good initially.
The wind blowing from right to left.
Yeah, a little awkward spot in that left-hand bunker.
This is Brittany Lincecum at the 11th for par. Saw her tee shot over on the right. That's a good up and down for Brittany Lincecum. A couple of pars to start the day. Do you think the length has much of an advantage here, Judy? Obviously, Lincecum's one of the bigger hitters.
For your third shot.
Jerry Foltz has caught up with this group, and Lexi Thompson, good tee shot.
Like it? Still a touch into the right. Right. Feel good? Yeah.
Well, not many players can get here today into this breeze, which is freshening. Lexi has 233 yards to the front edge. 247 hole. It's got to be a stretch.
Yeah, you like that X yardage, didn't you? 75. Let's see. So 240s.
Trying to find that layup yardage that'll give her the shot she wants to play.
Kevin come out with 167 plus the wind. Into that breeze. This is likely a smooth 6-iron, maybe a firm 7. Can never tell by the way the ball flies from Lexi. She can hit him so low, but a good shot there.
It was too tight under the ball.
Yeah.
My 3 was just going to squirt low and
So laying up at the par 5 10th after a perfect drive. Lexi trying to get on the board early. So first round just got underway at the Volunteers of America Texas Shootout. Hold the day.
Tried to lay up to 75 yards. Missed it by 1. Not from 74. Needs a little spin. Should have it. Not too much.
It's a good spot to putt from, though, underneath the hole. A moment ago, oh boy, this does not look pretty for area.
Certainly awkward stance. Good lie with the ball. And she's good in the bunkers. High percentage of up and down.
That was a moment ago. Nice touch.
She's a fascinating player to watch. Really enjoyable.
She's also a great player to watch. Now Christie, can she pour in another one, Kay? Her putter's gotten warm lately.
It has. I don't think it ever fully cools off. It just, you know, it just gets some mildly tepid. It was funny. I was talking to her caddy walking up, and she hit it in the right rough off the tee, and she was looking at a shot to try to pound and weave a 3-wood out of the rough and try to get it on the front of the green. And he's like, Christy, let's just take wedge and do what you do best and get a nice, you know, a nice sandwich in close. Let's not make a big number on this last hole. So she got this putt for birdie downhill.
Ooh. Just didn't stay up for her.
Almost a birdie 4. Kind of a strange round, but all in all, she'd take it.
Yeah. I don't like missing it on the low side. But Christy will card a 68. Now you can get the latest news, scores, and live stream your favorite tournaments all in one place with the Golf Channel app. Download it for free today and start streaming. As we look from high above once again, great look down at the 18th green, an area is set to play.
Judy, you can just feel how much these greens are drying out hour by hour as this wind picks up and the sun is now out in its full glory. This part right here is going to be a great example of just how fast downwind and downhill this putt could be.
Well, at this given moment in women's golf, I don't think there's a player who is a better putter from this distance. Thank you, Ariel.
That is some up and down, considering where she was in the bunker. She may have heard you.
And Judy, when she was winning a girls junior at age 13, 14, and contending in amateur events, she was an excellent putter.
All facets of the game working for Ariel Jutanagarn. Now Suzann Pettersen.
Suzann had a much more reasonable opportunity to get on this green in 2, but played conservatively as well. Laid up and hit a nice little lob wedge to this point. And this would be timely, Steve, as she 3-putt that last hole, fell back to even par. This would get her back into the red.
For a first round 70. She powered that one in as well. She is not afraid to hit the back of the hole from those short distances. There's a look at the clubhouse here below us at the Las Colinas Country Club, home to the Volunteers of America Texas Shootout for the 5th time. MJ Herr with that 2-shot lead.
Over the years, we've seen a lot of change. We actually use change.
Lydia Ko. Just a little bit too long, but it's creeping back onto the green.
Misjudge the wind just a touch.
That's what you said at the top of the show, Judy. It is very tricky out there to judge the wind when it's swirling like this. At the 12th, this is Jenny Shin, just beginning her day. This is her 3rd hole, defending champion.
This is the putt, if you go back to much earlier in the day, fooled a lot of players, fooled me, because at the end,
by that,
it tried to go right.
To the right.
But
saw that a couple of times.
Jenny took care of it.
As we said, defending champion, so she knows the golf course well. Pretty good start when you're trying to defend a title. Jenny Shin on that list of champions here at the Volunteers of America Texas Shootout. Indy won the first ever edition here in 2013, then backed it up a year after Stacey Lewis won here in Texas. And there's Jenny with that 2-shot victory a year ago. Volunteers of America Texas Shootout. The second round here on Golf Channel comes your way at 12 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Looking forward to having you with us as we continue to follow the best players in the women's game. Race to the CME Globe here in Irving, Texas, where Stacy Lewis has fond memories as well in that 2014 win, but not today. She's over par. See if she can get back to even par with a birdie at this par 5 last, and that will certainly help. What a terrific third shot for Stacy Lewis. That year, 2014, amazing. The last time she won on the LPGA Tour came in 2014. About time she gets off the schneid. She's too good of a player to not have a win in 3 years out here.
It is quick.
Not quick enough for her. Let's go to 11.
Second hole of the day for Lexi Thompson.
Into the breeze still, not a heavy breeze, a 7-iron. Low one, little left of the hole. Might roll a little right.
No problem there for Lexi. She's had 2 runner-up finishes now this year. Of course, the A&A, but she finished as the runner-up first event of the year, the Pure Soak Bahamas LPGA Classic. Let's go to the 10th.
Where Michelle Wee is about to hit her third.
Yeah, Steve, that's a 50-yard little pitch shot back into the wind.
Charlie Hull now has a birdie try at 18. Go from 18 over to the defending champion at 13.
Jenny Shin. Jenny won by 2 shots last year. Started the day 4 back of Jarena Pillar. She was fortunate there that just stayed at the top of the hill, because otherwise it could have run back. When she made the putt on 18 to finish up, she had no idea that she actually won. It was her caddy that said to her, "Jenny, that's it. You've done it. You've broken through to win for the first time."
I do not understand how players manage to play coming down the stretch and not look at the leaderboard. To me, that's harder work than looking. But there are a lot of players who do it. There are a lot of players who stay focused on everything but that, and it seems to work.
Stacy Lewis into that beautiful wedge. That's an even par 71 for Stacy after birdieing the 18th hole. Leaves her 6 back. MJ Her right now. There's that dot we just saw as Lexi Thompson was moving her mark away from the ball.
Yes, Lexi obviously must have a dot on the other side, because she was saying in the interview that she wants the dot to hit the putter face, but where it is there obviously wouldn't. So that may only be on short putts though. Now this for birdie.
Turning a little right, maybe slightly uphill.
But you know, players who get a little bit nervy with the putter sometimes, their eyes tend to not be quiet and calm, and that may be the way she is calming her eyes, because she's putted so much better.
Lydia Ko. That little one to close her day with a 1 under par 70. A couple of the game's brightest stars right there, Stacy and Lydia. Exchange Michelle Wee with a birdie try.
Playing this inside right edge. And just a little off. That was a good stroke, though.
Up at 16, Sandra Chenkicha. Lowest score on the course right now.
It's been a slow putt up this hill.
And it is again for Sandra. 2 shots back, 2 holes to play. Back on the green at 10, Jarena Pillar.
Hometown girl, lives about 30 minutes away.
When she had a real near miss here last year. There was just there was a strong feeling on Sunday that it was going to be her day, and she couldn't make it come to be.
Looking for that breakthrough victory on the LPGA Tour. Time now for the innovative shots of the day presented by UL. That's Amelia Lewis at the 18th, her fourth. That's your average birdie there at the par 5. Beautifully done from off the green from Amelia. We do mean shots of the day. MJ Hearn saving her par at 15 after finding some trouble at the par 4. One of the great shots of the day from MJ. Part of our UL innovative shots of the day. MJ cleaning up with a 6 under par, 65 to take care of the lead by 2 shots as we send you back out to 17.
And Cheyenne Woods, 4 over par, needs something to go her way. Might well do here, rattling it in for a 2. And Cheyenne has had a tough season so far. No better than tied for 52nd. And she will need to play well over the course of the rest of the day and tomorrow in order to make the final 2 rounds. Jarena Pillar on the tee at the 11th.
She's definitely in between 2 clubs. It's her second time switching back and forth, and Judy, that's always tough when you're in between, but the most important thing is to be committed. Looks like she's gone to a 6-iron and gripping this down. Well, that's laser-like.
Good shot.
Never wavered at all. Absolutely no movement on that shot.
Jenny Shin for a birdie at the 13th. Good 2 from Jenny Shin. And that's a great start for the defending champion. 3 birdies in the first 4 holes. Jenny from California, moved there when she was 9 years old. Here is So Yun Yu.
Going with a lofted hybrid, which would be equal to a 5 hybrid.
That's a really good tee shot. Best we've seen. Maybe a 2 for So Yun. And now Michelle Wee. I was talking to her mother earlier this week, Kay, and during the tournament in Hawaii, she slipped over and fell in the second round. You remember the rain that we had there? Injured her wrist, and she's been icing it during the rounds here in practice. So keep an eye on that.
Well, she calls herself a klutz at times, and she's just that tall, lanky type of person that often trips and falls, and has dealt with various injuries since she was 14 years old.
Oh, the injury list is long.
So we're calling one of the great athletes in the game a klutz.
I just hope that Michelle can stay healthy and that wrist issue is not a problem here. Watch these players for most of their rounds finishing up. The afternoon wave now out on the golf course. MJ Her leads the way with a 65. The afternoon players may have more difficult conditions out there. The wind is supposed to pick up here in Irving, Texas. Back on the tee at the 17th, and we have that hole-in-one prize this week, the 2017 Kia Cadenza. Sandra Chankaja on the tee, trying to win herself a Kia. And that one just getting a kick away from the flag. Had a good opening day at the Bank of Hope Founders Cup. Shot 64 in the opening round, but then followed that up with 73, 72, 68 in the final round. Jarena Pillar birdie at 11.
Well, she was playing out to go right to left, but it kind of went to the right initially, and certainly speedy.
Sung for birdie. This back nine, she's had a double, she's had a bogey, but she crawls that one in to get it back to 2 under par. All in all, might not have looked like it about an hour and a half ago, but all in all, you'll take 2 under on a day like today.
Yeah, good start.
Back to 11.
Michelle Way for birdie.
So, Judy, if Michelle's a product of Stanford, she's a product of Nerd Nation, so I guess she'd be a nerdy klutz.
I'm going to let you have that one, Kay.
I think she'd laugh and agree in a funny way. You know,
she would. She would, for sure.
Well, this was a beautiful shot in, and by the looks of it, should peel off a little bit from left to right. Doesn't have to worry about the speed because it's slightly uphill.
Well, whatever she is, Kay, she did make 2 there and get to 1 under par. Michelle Way, who's had a good year so far, was the 54-hole leader early in the season when she finished tied 4th in Singapore.
That was Austin Ernst, second at 12, Jerry.
Yeah, from the right side of the fairway, got it going a little right where she wanted to, and the green will slope that way, work away from the hole. That was just over 120 yards, so I'm not going to make her thrilled. Lexi now from the left side of the fairway, right at 120, well below her feet.
Jerry, what do you make of her demeanor over the course of this start here today?
I think she feels happy being back in her safe place now, the sanctuary of being inside the rope, Steve. A little bullet wedge left of the hole.
Judy, more to Jerry's point about Lexi, it is a better time for her to be on the golf course and not have to deal with the media and everybody else who's talking about what happened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it did happen 3 weeks ago, and she's had a 3 weeks away from golf. I think being back to golf is the best thing for her, and I, for one, let's let it go.
How about the wind, the golf course, and the scoring we saw today? You didn't quite see 65s and 66s out there today, considering the difficult conditions, did you?
I thought the wind was a little trickier than the scoring would indicate. It's supposed to get trickier as the day goes on. We have it again tomorrow in the forecast, so we'll see. But some really good golf today, and the greens were a little bit more receptive than I thought we might see.
Just like a year ago, MJ Herr had no problem negotiating this golf course on a Thursday. She had the lead in 2016, ended up as the runner-up. This time, she's looking to have the lead today and go on to win come Sunday. Coming up next, first-round coverage of the Zurich Classic of New Orleans, a really cool team event back out on the PGA Tour.